recording will be used for our academic purposes by Ames University. Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Charitra, your host for today's panel discussion. Welcome to today's panel discussion on future perspectives, business psychology for people analytics, and business reinvention. I'd like to begin today's session with the support and guidance of our beloved Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Kadiresan, our COO and academic advisor, Professor Dr. Kiran Reddy. The discussion today aims to generate innovative ideas that redefine the role of business psychology in shaping workforce analytics, strategic decision making, and sustainable business transformation. As we navigate an increasingly complex and rapidly changing business landscape, understanding the intersection of human behavior and data driven insights has become more crucial than ever. Today, we will explore how business psychology and people analytics are reshaping the way organizations innovate, make decisions, and adapt to new challenges. In the context of business reinvention, we will delve into how psychological principles can inform the design of a more effective, agile, and human centered strategies that drive organizational transformation. Our expert panelists and thought leaders joining us across the globe will share global perspectives on the new paradigms of business psychology. We are in for a thought provoking discussion on the future of work, the role of people analytics, and innovative approaches that can redefine how businesses operate in the years to come. I take this moment to welcome our esteemed panelists, Dr. Avneet Saxena, Senior Consultant, Philips, Netherlands, Ms. Jaya Kaipuram, Academic Director and Senior Lecturer, Royal Dock School of Business and Law, University of East London, Mr. Manjunath Krishnappa, Expert Leader, Market Data, Natixis, Portugal, Mr. Abhishek Wadlamudi, Business Intelligence Engineer from Unisys, Australia, and our very own Dr. Umashankar Krishnappa, Associate Professor, Faculty of Business and Management, Ames University, Malaysia. Thank you all for joining us today. To begin with, Dr. Umashankar, I would like to ask you the first question. What emerging trends in business psychology do you think will have the biggest impact on workplace culture and productivity? Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Dr. Charitra. It's been a kind of thought-provoking question. So, as we see business psychology, it is a new emerging paradigm. So that's actually transforms the business landscapes, I would say. So before that, just to speak about the background, we see that like nowadays businesses have been navigating through various unpredictable trajectories. So I would say that these trajectories would include some kind of disruptive technology and like drastic change in the consumer consumption styles. So various generations are pitching in. So like that, there are so many changes that's happening across the world. And in addition to that, whatever the transformational changes or unpredictable changes are happening in the market, so the every like I would say that the pressure is taken by the like human resource of an organization. So this is causing tremendous pressure on the people to one side. The other side is even, of course, the senior management of various businesses. So they are, of course, in a state of VUCA. So something like something volatile, where it's very much complex, ambiguity. Okay, so where they are able to redesign their business models because they do not know what happens next. Okay, and in addition to that, so we'll also see, of course, although there is growing corpus of information, okay, on whatever the contemporary change is happening, but still, academics, academia, and as well the industries, they are putting in efforts, okay, to overcome this. But still, I would say that a lot of things, should be done. So to quote an example, I would say that. Uh, Most of the organizations across the world, like they have been facing some kind of challenges in terms of employee well-being and also their engagement issues. So the best example I would like to quote is like the data that I got it from British Heart Foundation. So that says that more than 80% of the employees across the globe, so they suffer this cardiac arrest, like, so during Sunday evenings or Monday mornings. Okay, and in addition to that, there's one more like contradictory thing is, so we end up for 40 years, if we work and for the okay 8 hours a day, so we end up working almost 90,000 hours in our lifetime. So which means more than 1/3 of our life is spent in the organization, and that too we spend in a kind of a psychological syndrome called ergophobia, fear to going to the workplace. So if you look at all these like the challenges in the workplace, I strongly believe that like the HR has to go beyond their boundary lines. Okay, not just of course no like the HR people have to be reactionary, but like they have to be more proactive. Okay, in the nature. And in addition to that, yes, we should also take up certain roles of helping the senior management to rebuild their business models. Okay, and that will definitely, of course, help the businesses. Not only businesses, I would say that even, of course, it will also help in terms of bringing that kind of happiness at the workplace. So when I say bringing happiness at the workplace, I would like to quote even the Google. So they have included this positive psychology concept where they're working on it. And yes, we being the employees, I'd say we have every right to be happy. And we have every right to contribute to the growing excellence of any organization. So in that way, I say that business psychology is very essential. So to contribute not only for the human development or human competencies at work, but also like giving like kind of predictive analysis for the senior management through some kind of neuromarketing or some concepts derived from cognitive neuroscience and all that. Okay, right. Thank you.
That sounds very interesting, Dr. Umashankar. I think every employee, as you said, needs to look from a point of view of being happy and thereby increase the productivity and contribute, to the organization's culture. Thank you for that. Well, my next question is to you, Ms. Jaya. How do you think businesses use behavioral insights to create more effective personalized marketing campaigns? Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Dr. Charitra. I hope you can hear me okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So, hello everyone, and good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. It's a real honor to be on this panel, and I'm a lecturer in marketing, so I want to provide a slightly, different perspective in terms of the behavioral psychology and its application in the context of marketing. So, the applications of behavioral psychology are absolutely profound in the field of marketing, and it's not a recent trend. You can trace the origins back to, the late 19th century when the American giant retail store Sears introduced the first catalog, the mail order catalog, and they started analyzing customer purchase patterns, and they started tailoring their product offer based on what people were ordering on the catalog. So even as early as the 19th centuries, and then obviously through the course of the 20th century, you can see the prevalence of how behavioral data has been enhancing marketing decision making and business decision making in general. It can be traced to the 1920s and 50s when companies like Procter and Gamble used simple surveys to understand customer behavior, to enhance their decision making, and to improve customer engagement. Early focus groups can be traced to 1930s when people were asked about their behavior and what kind of products they were willing to purchase. And a very classic example of this focus group technique can be traced back to 1950s, where the famous car company Chrysler, they were struggling with their sales, and they went and conducted focus groups because they couldn't understand why they were not improving their sales market. And they figured out that actually the decisions were being made by women equally in terms of getting a car. So instead of focusing on the sportier models, they then moved their focus to more practical, family type sedan based cars. And in response to that, they shifted their advertising messages, and targeted women, and that improved the sales drastically for the car company. So this boom has particularly, it's not something that's happening here and now. You can even trace it to the 1960s and 18s, when database marketing was at its prime. And one really good example of that is the retail loyalty card program that companies like Target in America and Tesco. I think Tesco introduced the loyalty card in 1885 in the UK, where large amounts of customer data, the concept of big data, large amounts of customer data were available, and 8 million people signed up right away. So customer companies had this data now to process and to engage with customers in a much more systematic manner in terms of the products and the prices that they were willing to offer. But of course, that conversation has completely changed with the advent of internet in the 21st century and social media now. Things like Google Analytics, marketing cookies, and behavioral tracking have become kind of day-to-day norm in marketing strategies. Social media platforms, like Facebook and X, have completely magnified this ability of tracking customers' behavior based on their browsing history. And a really good example of that is the Trump, the allegedly usage of Twitter then by Trump in the 2016 elections, and how that kind of predictive analysis helped tweak the marketing campaigns, which helped him to gain the presidency. And currently as well, this kind of using predictive analysis is very much embedded in marketing strategies across all companies, by analyzing current behavior of customers, in terms of giving personal recommendations. We must have all seen when we are browsing for clothing or what have you, they'll give you additional recommendations. Or you might also like this. It's a classic example of personalized marketing. And when I say personalized marketing, I don't mean marketing just to a postcode or to a group of consumers, but marketing to each and every individual. It's a classic example of micro marketing and really targeted marketing, targeted by the individual in terms of what you would like, customized messaging, and increasing that kind of engagement and thereby sales. So social media browsing is a classic example of, most of you probably have Instagram. In terms of what reels that you would want to watch are predicted by the reels that you've already watched, and advertising messaging is then aligned with that kind of data. So the future is what I want to kind of spend the rest of couple of minutes just talking about. The future of analytical tools is very much embedded in the practice of marketing. And where is it going? I think in the future we'll see a much more rise in the automation of marketing interventions. There's also already data to say that 85% of all customer interactions is handled by AI and chatbots and other mechanistic tools. This is only going to increase. Personalization will also become much more refined, giving you personalized and tailored customer experiences. And not just at one point, not just at the point of sales, but throughout the customer journey, right from when customers are browsing for products, right from when you're comparing products. Each of those experiences will be personalized to each individual, so that it's much more bespoke. So looking ahead, I mean, I would like to just conclude by saying that AI is just not, changing marketing, but it's very much redefining how marketers and businesses engage with their audiences, or it has already redefined. Automation will streamline things, hopefully, will improve customer satisfaction, engagement. Personalization will enhance customer experiences by taking away a lot of the noise and the clutter. And this is only going to become better in terms of customer engagement. However, I mean, there are obviously concerns around privacy, the GDPR law in Europe, and more companies trying to push back this mentality, and also trying to say, okay, let's give customers, the rise of opt-in marketing, or the rise of zero-party data, where companies are also saying we're only going to use the data that customers are happy and willingly give. So that kind of moral and ethical stance. So it remains to be seen how will organizations navigate this path. Are we going to, as companies, are we going to be more and more mindful of customer data and the moral and ethical grounds on which we use that data? How are we going to navigate the vast number of employees that we have, and the skill set that is required in terms of AI and automation and predictive analysis? But more fundamentally, my final thought in terms as a marketer, my final thought is, anybody who works in marketing will tell you that marketing is about relationship building. So how do we navigate this AI and automation route without losing the emotional elements of that require, building a relationship, that of trust and that of partnership? So how will businesses navigate that? Will remain to be seen. So thank you.
In fact, stay at the very heart of marketing campaigns. And well, as we are moving towards AI-driven world, it's quite volatile with regard to the challenges that are coming in. Thank you, Ms. Jaya, for that input. Right. Moving on, my next question is to you, Dr. Avneet Saxena. Do you see AI and data science evolving to better capture and interpret human emotions in workplace analytics? What are your thoughts, sir?
First of all, good morning, good afternoon, and a good evening, because it's across geography. I've been in this area for almost last 20, 25 years, and I've seen the evolution of artificial intelligence and people analytics. To be very honest, it's a very interesting topic, and AI is coming very, very close to understand the emotions. And you can see some of very recent examples. You see that Tesla, and recently they have organized a workshop and in fact shown a lot of those robots which are actually mimicking the human behavior. But I will touch upon all of this topic in detail, because I would say we are actually going very close to this, but again, it's far to the reality. And there are a lot of implication in terms of mimicking human behavior, emotions. These are both pros and cons. So we really need to look into this, holistically. So coming back, if I look at artificial intelligence and data science, actually it's transforming our workplace analytics. But the biggest frontier remains understanding human emotions. That's what I believe. And if I say, emotions are what, if AI is going to do anything, and if I want to capture it, the reality, and want to transform it and to take decisions, we really need to have data points. But emotions are not just data points. Emotions are the thoughts. Emotions are actually having a feeling. Emotions are actually having an experience. And it's built over the period of time. So that's where it is important, so that's where there are still a lot of gaps. And then the questions comes up, okay, can AI truly capture and interpret the emotions in a meaningful way? Or the questions come, okay, how do we do it responsibly? And this is very interesting, because a lot of time you see it will backfire you, because you cannot say that, yeah, that interpretation from AI is actually up to the mark, but it's meeting your expectation. You don't know. And up to what extent this is reliable, or do I really rely completely on AI, or it is actually up to some extent, and some places we can use it. We all of us are now very much using it, technology and AI. So even before moving to AI, it's actually we are using it technology. We are sending emojis. we don't know, right? We are sending our emotions. There are a lot of things like we drive a driverless car, Tesla. I'm having a Tesla, which I can drive it, and it actually can mimic it my driving style. So it's captured, how the way I'm working it. At the same time, robots also now there are robots which are available which can mimic and show the same emotions or same feelings which might once a feeling, but actually it will reflect and it will reply you in a similar manner the way you are actually doing it. But whether they have the same feeling, no, we are still far. Those that you build over the period of time. So again, AI rely on the data part, but again, all of this data can translate into the reality. We don't know. So many of these questions comes up, and from a workplace perspective, already there are many things which are happening. So traditionally, if I look at we focus on attendance, we focus on performance, we look for the engagement, we look at okay how their overall journey is going to happen. But if I look at from an AI point of view now, we have a many different tools which really can help us. What are those tools? We have a sentiment analysis, very, very effective tools. So we can see, okay, that yesterday some soccer match happened, and then I can look into that and say, okay, what is the right sentiment? Whether people liking it, disliking it, or from a company point of view, if I have to open a new venture in a particular reason, then I can directly go over there and see, okay, what is people are liking it over there, people like this particular product, people liking it this particular category, or what is the feelings all about men, women, across all diversities. And that is very it is AI is really helping us actually to look into that. So again, there are many ways of doing this. We can look into sentiment, we can look at voice recognition, we can look at for facial recognition, we can look at for text-based recognition. So all of these tools pretty much available as of now, and really helping us in terms of reaching out to very, very close to mimic it human behavior. But again, as I say, it's still far, and that also having implications. In fact, many times this can also backfire because whether you are correctly mimicking that behavior and how well you are using it. So robots can help you actually fulfill your purpose, but up to what extent? Can I completely rely on the robots? And many times that actually turn up in some eventually with some accidents, or eventually that may not go that the way you are expecting it. So it is again a very big question. I may be in a position to achieve it, and we are very, very close to that. I can tell you that new solutions which are relying more on a Gen AI based solution, generative AI is actually very, very close to mimic it that human behavior and emotion because they have all the data in place. But is it really helping us? That's again a question. And how this is going to help, because there are places where it is going to help us a lot. There are areas where definitely that need to be looked into more holistically. So again, because this is a very detailed topic, and I mean we keep talking, but I just wanted to close my thoughts here that this is actually a very, very interesting area where still there are a lot of which is work is happening, and I don't think so. AI will replace it human intelligence completely or emotional intelligence completely, but definitely there is a much more opportunity to enhance it, and that's where all the companies are working it, and that's where the close collaboration happening, and we are bridging the gap. So again, its future would be that okay how well we are capitalizing it this innovation, artificial intelligence and data science in a way that can fulfill our purpose, not going to replace human. That definitely should not be. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Avneet. Thank you, Dr. Avneet. Indeed, it's been a quite insightful information. And even, of course, just to connect with even Professor Jaya and as well as Dr. Avneet. So I was just looking into World Economic Forum report of future of the jobs in, I believe you can all see this, 2025. So this shows that how many jobs would be replaced, of course, in future. So something, of course, and of course, I'm really happy that like we are the least possible replaceable jobs because the teachers. Because I would like to connect the same thing with what Dr. Avneet and of course Prof. Jai was saying. Yeah, humans cannot be replaced because only we humans have emotions. We can think rationally. Okay, which of course AI cannot. And of course, we do have a social organ called something the brain, but AI doesn't have. And it doesn't mean that AI is inferior to us. So yes, we have to work together, collaborate together, okay, in order to achieve the common goal. Of course, AI doesn't have a common goal, but yes, to achieve our goals, we have to work together. And yes, in psychology, in the recent terms, of course, we are also listening a lot about Frankenstein syndrome. Frankenstein syndrome is something, so we are afraid of unknown. We do not know what happens. So, and of course, there is a kind of wide upcry across the globe that what will happen to me after a year or two. So, but what I believe is nothing will happen to you. But yes, we need to unlearn a lot of things and try to embrace as the technology, evolves itself. So, with this, yeah, Dr. Charitra, over to you.
True, Dr. Umashankar. I think, as Dr. Avneet pointed out, it's very true. The challenges are many with the AI intervention today, but nevertheless, there's a lot of work going on in terms of ensuring that these challenges are met with some possible solutions. Let's be little hopeful that probably we will be able to, um, ensure that AI helps us in terms of enhancing our abilities rather than replacing our abilities. Well, that being said, my next question is to you, Mr. Manjunath Krishnappa. Uh, Manjunath, what do you think? Do you think behavioral insights help organizations foster more strategic and mutually beneficial vendor partnership? What are your insights on this? Over to you.
Hey, thank you so much, Dr. Charitra, and thanks for having me in this panel. Hello, everyone. So this is Manjunath, a part of a market data strategy team. So I'm into this strategic vendor relationships for about close to 20 years now. So yes, this plays a very critical part in our vendor negotiations. Basically, we deal with the vendor negotiations and also mainly on their behavior skills. We try to look at the approach what each of these vendors have. Basically, if you see that there is a vendor who is already well established, so he will be looking out for a long and sustainable relationship, basically, rather than immediate gain. So these are the vendors who are well established. They know their data is well known in the market, and they will be looking for a long sustainable relationship. But whereas some of the vendors who are getting into the market, or could be some startups, they want some immediate gains to kind of capture some of the markets, or for the sustainability of their organization as such. So they look out for the immediate gain as such. So we try to focus on what these vendors are before getting into a vendor negotiations or before speaking with these guys. We try to analyze each of their vendors, analyze their behavior, and if it's an existing vendor relationship, we try to look at how our behavior has been with this vendor. What are the opportunities for us to negotiate with these vendors, whether we can go further down in the pricing standpoint. So behavior is one of the critical standpoint, looking at how the behavior could be from the vendor. It's not always the transaction relationship what we do with the vendors. It's basically the long term sustainable relationship, and also you have to create that win to win situations with the vendor. We keep speaking about this in many market data forums with various stakeholders and various vendors. Like always, we need to maintain that long term relationship. It's not always like we as an organization is winning over any negotiations. We have to create that win to win situation, so both the parties are on the same line, and both are winning, basically. If the vendor comes back to us, no, I want to charge you like 1 million more. Okay, if you're charging me 1 million, or what for me as an organization, what you are bringing with that for us. So it's kind of a win-to-win situation what we try to create, and this behavior really plays a very critical role. To give you an example, as you know, Reuters is one of the players in the market who are there in the industry like 18. I think initially they were set up in 1851. You look at the Reuters, so it has a long history of 150 years plus. But you look at Bloomberg, basically. Bloomberg was set up in 1981. Basically, someone who got, I'm sure like some of you guys know Michael Bloomberg, who got fired from one of the organization. And he came up with a solution. He came up with an idea. Okay, I will set up my own organization. And if you see the trend, it's been like 40 years into the market, and the kind of trust which Bloomberg has taken over in the financial market is just amazing. So this plays a very critical role. The connect what Bloomberg has with his partners or with his clients is quite amazing. I'm not saying that Refinitiv or Reuters is not that good, but the connect is not there with the financial institutions, or the trust is not there. That's the reason, like, within a very short span of time, Bloomberg was able to, capture the markets. And if I call, like, which is the best players in the market, it's Bloomberg is leading the deal, like, where it has more than 30% stake in the overall market data spend, and Refinitiv or Reuters now, like, starts second. So that's where, like, being connected with your clients and with your customers really matters a lot to gain the trust. And yes, AA has been one of the critical topics we have been discussing. Like, it's been going everywhere in all the industry, all the financial industries to have AI implemented. Basically, like, yes, AI brings in a lot of automations. We also run a lot of robos. We call it as algorithm trading in our banking industry when we do the trading activities. But who does this? Who does this algorithm? It's a human, basically. Like, who is behind this AI is the human. If you don't have a human, you can't set up an algo, basically. So that's how it is. Yes, over a period of time, you can actually, like, minimize or automate few things, but the people behind is a human brain who's setting up these algos, who's creating these robots is human, basically. So human brains are not replaceable, but also, like, when we take some strategic vendor negotiations or strategic decisions, is the human brain which is working. You can't replace a vendor manager or a strategic partner with a robo, because it doesn't have emotions, or it doesn't react to the situations. Basically, it's set up with certain rules and certain regulations. It just goes. It can't take an instant decision, or it goes on a transactional basis. Okay, this is a transaction, I'm going to process this transaction. But human brain is not like that. So it tries to analyze the situation, and it tries to bring in the emotional touch with your vendors or with your stakeholders or with your clients. So that's how the human brain really helps. So over a period of time, yes, AI can bring in a lot of automations and a lot of standardization to the process, but human brains can't be replaced, I would say. So that's how I see. Yes, AI can evolve a lot, but it needs a human brain to be operated.
That's
Thank you, Mr. And of course, I would like to acknowledge what you said just now. And yeah, before we go ahead with one more speaker, I just want to add on one more point to what Mr. Manjunath was saying, particularly like how like the business insights should be accompanied by the human emotions. And basically, yeah, I'm a teacher, of course. Uh, I take a lot of time. Uh, whenever okay, if I start, actually, I hardly stop. So I request my people, to stop me, if I just going much farther. Just okay, I'll not talk much, but a short story I'd like to narrate here. In connection to what Mr. Manjunath said. So I think it was during 2000s, I believe. It was Steve Jobs who was about to release a new product to the market. So you wanted to, after analyzing the market, he came to know that there's a tough competition in South Asia. So you wanted to keep the best, like the human resource there, that is sales executives, to market his product. And he himself start, there in the interview board and started selecting. And whoever, of course, came to the interview board, used to ask them only one question. So this is my pen. This is my pen. Okay, and the market price of this pen is $25, and you have to resell this for $50. This is only simple question used to ask every candidate who just walked into the boardroom. And all the candidates, as soon as they took the pen, they started mechanical way of selling the product, saying that, so this product, right, okay, this is really a wonderful pen, all that kind of, they started explaining the features of the product. Okay, and as soon as they started with the features of the product, you just used to say, okay, please go, get lost. And finally, of course, one gentleman came. Okay, and he was asked the same question. So this is my pen. I'm using this pen. Market value is $25, and sell this for $50. So this gentleman took the pen, just gave a look, and with a smile, he said, "Before I make an attempt to sell this product, sir, can I ask you two questions?" Said yes. So first question he asked, "Sir, tell me, like, like since how long you have been using this pen?" So he said, "I've been using this pen for the past 20 years." 20 years. The next question, "Sir, where do you use this pen? Usually, what do you do with this pen?" He said, "I use this pen only to sign some important documents." So then he said, "So as per my understanding, you have been using this pen for the past 20 years, which means this pen is very precious for you." The second, "You use this pen only to sign some important documents, which mean this pen is very auspicious for you. And now I'm not selling this pen for $50, and the price of this pen has become $500. Please take it." So he took it. Steve Jobs said, you're selected. So which means sometimes what happens is the emotional connect matters a lot in the business. That is, that is the reason we call this as business plus psychology, where we bring in a lot of psychological insights into the business, right? So thank you, it's Manjunath. So over to
Thank
you,
you.
Dr. Charitra.
Yes, as Mr. Manjunath pointed out rightly, it's very true. Our behavioral insights, in fact, are something which AI, I don't think it can probably, cater to those behavioral needs at this point. Probably, yes, it will evolve. We will hopefully look for a day forward in such manner. But thank you, Mr. Manjunath, for giving your insights on this. Moving now to you, Mr. Abhishek. Do you see AI and machine learning effectively capturing human emotions and cognitive biases in workplace analytics? What are your thoughts on this?
Thank you, Dr. Chaitra. I hope I'm audible. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Well, it's no secret that AI is transforming the way organizations are capturing workplace analytics. One of the biggest questions that we face today is whether AI can effectively capture human emotions and cognitive biases, right? The two critical elements that could change the workplace dynamics, decision making, and employee well being. AI has significantly evolved through various technologies such as sentiment analysis, that like Dr. Amit has said, facial and voice recognition, and behavioral analytics. These technologies were definitely used by organizations to gauge employee sentiment, where they can identify the burnout of an employer, dissatisfaction, etc. We could also use it to predict cognitive biases, where we can flag patterns in hiring, promotions, or biases in the organization. We could also use it for monitoring employee well-being, where the frequency, response times, and the performance of an employee can be gauged. It all sounds like a cakewalk in the beginning, but despite all these challenges, AI is still far from perfectly understanding human emotions and biases. The main reasons for this is a lack of contextual understanding. AI definitely struggles in the current day with understanding sarcasm, cultural nuances, or some emotions that could, some personal experiences that could trigger emotions of a person at a workplace. The bias in AI models, like we all know, AI is evolving, learning from data, right? If a historical data has a bias in it, AI will definitely have the bias in it. There's no way we can eliminate it. Now, the moment we start monitoring people using AI, there are definitely privacy and ethical concerns that would arise. People will feel that they're under surveillance rather than it's actually helping them out. AI might also flag that an employee is not working properly because he's responding in a probably is responding late to a message or something like that. But then the work style of every human being is different. So the if you're taking an approach like one AI model could fit all, that would definitely not help an organization in any way. To conclude, I would say while AI looks like a powerful tool, it would definitely miss the factor of a human judgment, which would help factor an organization more effectively. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abhishek. For often I used to have a lot of discussion with Mr. Abhishek, who belongs to the younger generation and quite fast forward in terms of applications of technology. And yes, what Mr. Abhishek said, so I truly agree with him what he said. Uh, but yes, nowadays, there's a lot of course, this still it has remained as a paradigm, and yes, it has to be translated into practice. So some gamification theories are also coming up where they are focusing more on behavioral modeling, and in addition to that, we can also see certain concepts like Google. So of course, the Google actually came up with the people analytics. So this people analytics actually what it does is it tries to capture the people's competencies and also gives actually produces the data okay to the senior management or the HR. So where are the areas of improvement? And again, in addition to that, yes, most of the organizations across the world, I would say top 500 Fortune companies. So they have been incessantly, tirelessly, so working on keeping their employees, okay, happy. So when I say happy, I know that. So happiness has got different definitions. It's very subjective when we talk, happiness. But I'm talking about happiness from the perspective of positive psychology, right? So where they're trying to create that kind of atmosphere across their organizations, so that can help them redefine their cultural practices, both the macro and as well as micro work cultures. And yes, this artificial intelligence technology, I think it will definitely play a crucial role, okay, in helping us to rebuild our organizations. One. And one more thing that this also often, I often think of, see, when I say, the pen, okay, and if I do something wrong with this pen, so obviously, people don't blame this pen, they blame me. So what I strongly believe is that, yes, this artificial intelligence or technology, whatever we're talking about, so that's a kind of instrument that humans we use it. And yes, for not using this instrument for the right purposes, yes, it is not the instrument to be blamed, but it is the humans who needs lots of transformation. We need to learn how to use technology for the betterment not only of the business practices, but also the betterment of the whole world. Yeah, this is what my opinion is. Thank you, Mr. Abhishek. It was quite insightful.
Thank you, Mr. Abhishek and Dr. Umashankar. That's true. I think the future of business, in fact, lies in terms of understanding as well as responding to these evolving needs of people, particularly the employees, customers, and leaders alike, I believe. So, as we wrap up today's insightful discussion, it's clear that the intersection of human behavior as well as data analytics holds tremendous potential in terms of transforming businesses. By integrating psychological insights into people analytics, organizations can foster a more engaging as well as adaptive work environment, driving both innovation and growth. We hope today's conversation has sparked some new ideas and perspectives on how to leverage these powerful tools for organizational reinvention. A very big thank you to all the esteemed panelists. And before we close off, yes, Dr. Umashankar, a little up to you.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, since we were in a very formal mode of discussion, so I did not get the privilege to thank all of you. So for making your time and attending this program and the insights that you shared. Of course, we have noted each and every point, of course, that you said today. Okay, and definitely, of course, of course, as I was talking to one of the panelists here, yeah, this is a kind of ongoing series of discussions that we keep happening, and of course, probably after a few months, we will just see whatever the other major things, a kind of transformation that we can bring in the areas of business psychology, neuromarketing. Yes, at our university, we're also working on some of the concepts of cognitive neuroscience and consumer behavior, and of course we also started working on neurofinance too. Okay, so probably I think we all can collaborate and work together, so that yes, we will try to articulate it in the best possible way in future. So yes, the group, it remains the same thing. So we will start sharing some of the, whatever the the new insights that we come across. So we keep sharing, and as like new panels start building up future, we'll also start adding up those panelists also on the same group, so that we can build a kind of an intellectual community, both from the industry and as well as from the academics, and yeah, that's how it is, right? Thank you very much, all of you. And yes, Dr. Avneet, so thank you very much for making to this event. So, and even Miss Jaya, I know that Miss Jaya was very, busy, of course. When I called her, she was in a series of conferences. So, but still, of course, she could make to this event. And Mr. Manjunath, so I know that he's always a busy man. Okay, but finally, thank you for accepting our request. And Mr. Abhishek, and yes, since we are offline and we have stopped recording, so Mr. Abhishek is one of the best students of mine. So almost 5 years ago, and thank you, Mr. Abhishek.
Thank you,
And
sir.
of course, as a teacher, I'm feeling very happy to see you on the screen.
Thank you.
Right. Okay. So, right. Once again, thank you very much. So we'll not hold you up. And pertaining to as a small token of appreciation from our end, so we will actually send you the letters of appreciation signed by our Vice Chancellor. So you decide whether if you want just a e-copy or you want a physical copy also. Just put a text. Okay, so we'll send that to you. Anyhow, e-copies will come to you. So in case if you want hard copies also, please text me. So we'll make that arrangement. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you so much.
So
Everyone.
Thanks,
Thank
Thank you
you.
all.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye. Thank you all for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
AIMS University offers a certification course in business psychology designed to equip professionals with the skills to bridge the gap between human behavior and business strategy. Whether you're looking to enhance workplace culture, optimize leadership effectiveness, or drive data driven decision making, this program provides the insights and tools to make a real impact. The following panel discussion gives you insights into the course. Welcome to the course.